Action!
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there.
This week in gaming, we're experimenting with a new format for our show. Sorta. You might have noticed that One RBC Gaming Weekly has only been living up to about 2/3 of its name as of late. Every time we've got excuses. We're working on some big things in the background. Well, we have been developing some new stuff. New styles of stuff, because soon we're going to be bringing some game news, reviews, interviews, and much more to some very public screens. Sure, we're online, on television, and on Roku, but now we're on a journey to someplace new. We'll reveal some more details soon. Meanwhile, we want your opinion of our new style of show. This is a weekly game news show that's going to be concise and informative. It's much more short form than what we've been running. Now, to be clear, we're not planning on replacing One RBC Gaming Weekly, even if we've been running the show every other week. Going in-depth on gaming news is still our specialty. It's what we love the most, and we know that it's what you love. That said, before we take this new show public, we want to know what you think about it. So, hit us up on Twitter at OneRuleBeCool, Facebook comment section, what suits you, and let us know what you think about the format. If you were out in public, would it be enough to grab your attention? Thanks for sticking with us, and enjoy the show. In gaming business news this week, Swedish developers Image & Form and Zoink have formed a new company called Thunderful. Image & Form, in case you're unfamiliar with their work, is best known for the Steamworld series of games. Platformer Steamworld Dig 2 was a hit when it launched in 2017. This week they announced that Steamworld Dig, its predecessor, would be receiving a Nintendo Switch port set to be released on February 7th. Zoink, on the other hand, is a small studio currently developing a game called Fae, which is set to be published by Electronic Arts sometime this year. Image & Form and Zoink have collaborated on projects in the past. Through Thunderful, we can share resources more effectively, officially act together, and launch bigger, more ambitious game projects, said Image & Form CEO Brian Squirgerson in an official statement. Developer Epic Games has announced the shutdown of their third-person MOBA Paragon. The game will be closing its doors on April 26, 2018. According to a statement from Epic, they feel that there isn't a clear path to grow Paragon into a MOBA that retains enough players to be sustainable. Paragon, it would seem, came into existence at an awkward time, one in which MOBAs were already on the wane. Much of the MOBA market has been taken up already by such games as Dota 2 and League of Legends. Will a new, big MOBA emerge and survive? Thus far, most have failed. Epic will be offering full refunds to anybody who paid into the game. A great move on their part. Don't feel too bad for Epic. They've seen great success as of late with Fortnite. Nintendo has unveiled their latest project, and it's a little bit unusual. Nintendo Labo is a line of cardboard toys powered by the Nintendo Switch, their latest console, which has been one of their fastest selling. These Labo kits will allow you to assemble neat accessories out of cardboard, for instance, a cardboard piano that takes advantage of the Switch controller's IR camera to track which keys are being pressed as you play a music game, for example. There's also this robot kit that'll allow you to play a game as a giant robot. Get in the cardboard robot, Jimmy. Nintendo Labo kits are coming out April 20th. Iconoclasts launched on the PlayStation 4, Vita, Mac, Windows, and Linux. Developed by Joachim Sandberg, it's a Metroidvania filled with puzzles to solve, bosses to battle, and a surprisingly emotional story. It centers on Robin, who works as a mechanic in a dystopia that makes her line of expertise illegal. Thus far, the game has gotten fantastically positive reviews from both players and the press. It's the result of Sandberg's 7 years of solo development effort, and it shows. If you're looking for a fresh adventure, check out Iconoclasts. Celeste was released this week on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Mac, Windows, and Linux. It's a tight, action-packed platformer about climbing to the top of the titular Celeste mountain. If you're into games like Super Meat Boy or other challenging platformers, Celeste is right up your alley. It's not too mechanically complicated, but calls for some precision moves from players. Coupled with its story, which involves the protagonist's own anxiety, it's as much about climbing an actual mountain as it is climbing the mountain within. Monster Hunter World was released on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. The latest game in the Monster Hunter series, it's a game about fighting various monsters in a fantasy world, as you may rightly assume. You'll spend a fair amount of time in the game crafting items from wild plants and, of course, the monsters you've hunted. The game is being hailed as the most accessible entry in the Monster Hunter series, which has a reputation for being surprisingly complicated. Monster Hunter World is set to come to PC as well later this year. In crowdfunding news, Genesis Noir has captured our attention. This jazzy game straddles the line between high fantasy and cosmic science fiction. It feels like an art piece right out of the Harlem Renaissance. In Genesis Noir, you're a watch peddler and jazz musician laying down that funky cosmic jive before the birth of the universe. You're in love with a lady named Miss Mass, and you know that her continued existence is threatened by a Big Bang. You've got to try and stop it, somehow. The game's film lore and Jazz Age inspirations shine through in its music and art style, though it also draws inspiration from such games as Botanicula and Kentucky Route Zero. There's a playable teaser for Genesis Noir on the game's Kickstarter page. That's it for this week's game news. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at OneRuleBeCool for all the greatest game news, reviews, interviews, and more.